Schanzer is a Vice President of Research for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He joins us now from Washington. Thank you very much for joining us. First off, a phone call between Netanyahu and the Canadian Prime Minister, clearly cementing a relationship between the two countries.
Absolutely. I think when you look at Canada's foreign policy over the last several months, or perhaps even several years, it has been unwavering in its support for the Israelis. It showed the Israelis that Canada was really one of the few friends that it had during this very trying time. There were only 8 countries that stood by Israel, and Canada was one of them. So I can only imagine that was perhaps even an emotional phone call for the Prime Minister of Israel.
Now, you mentioned the crucial vote at the United Nations. Will this cause deep diplomatic damage, or is this just a speed bump?
Well, I think, first of all, the vote was it was telegraphed. I mean, the Palestinians attempted this maneuver last year at the UN in September. We knew that it would happen again. They've been lobbying heavily for the last 7 years in order to gain this coalition that they eventually pulled together, 139 countries. This was not a recognition of state. It was merely an upgrade of the Palestinians' mission at the United Nations. I don't believe that any fault lines were drawn as a result of it. But certainly, I think it demonstrated that the Palestinians have quite a bit of support in the international community for their national project.
Now, speaking of national projects, there was a very quick announcement of new homes, new settlements around the Jerusalem area, east of Jerusalem. What kind of reaction do you expect from that announcement from the Israeli government?
Well, these are existing areas. They are over the armistice line of 1948, but certainly areas where the Israelis have been living for many, many years. The United States has expressed its displeasure. The UK, France, many others will, and I fully expect there to be continued backlash. But certainly, I think the Israelis were trying to deliver a statement in response to what just happened at the UN. That they are going to continue to build homes in areas that they have lived in for decades, and that what the international community says about a Palestinian state does not impact them at this time. The Israelis have really long held that whatever happens, that any agreement will need to be made between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and that really no one else can get in between. That was the foundation of the Oslo Accord, signed in 1993. It was a bilateral structure, and so the Israelis are saying right now that if the Palestinians engage in a unilateral move as they did at the UN this week, then they can also engage in unilateral moves, and I think that was the message sent.
Jonathan Schanzer from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, thank you very much for joining us.
You're very welcome.